Let's have a wee look at this business pyramid structure. And it's not actually a pyramid, it's in the pyramid scheme, but it's just based how a business starts out at the bottom of its early stages, when it's just people, and when there's just people, we've got people at the bottom of the pyramid, and that's what's start out as a business. So you might start as a sole entrepreneur, and often in the coaching world, you'll hear people being told to work on your business, not in your business. Well, this is a bit geographical or a bit generic, as in its terminology, as to what that involves. A lot of things just doing a business plan or a marketing plan or such, and doing a bit of marketing. But in actual fact, it's a lot more than that. It's building the value of your business for the future. So when we say working on your business, we're going to start looking at what happens when you get busy. So at the start of a business, you started out, and now you're getting a bit more work coming in. You're starting to get a bit busy. So you need to think about how I'm going to not be working 14, 15 hours a day to do the job anymore. You might take on more staff, which will help the problem to a certain extent, but it won't alleviate the problem. You might charge more to try and bring it down, to bring your profitability up. But what you're really aiming to achieve now is some systems within your business, so it's become systematic. So when you take on new people, they're doing the things that you've always done the same way. So you're creating systems, and it might be some other things like an answering system, or a callback system. It could be a checkup system. It could be a different accounting system. It could be all sorts of systems depending on what business you're in. But once you start building a few systems into your business and your people, we might start getting a few people on board. Even with yourself, you need some structure around that. So you need to structure around your systems, because what will happen, unless you KPI them or measure the systems, they're effectively, you don't know how efficient they are. So you start doing that, you start measuring your systems, you start setting in some structure around what you do, about your when you're in bringing on new staff as well. You start bringing some manuals and checklists, etc. So what you're doing is creating some structure around that business, and now instead of just being one person as it originally was, you've got a finely tuned machine, so to speak, that someone can come along and work for you, because you've got structure and systems in place. What happens then is we move on to the next part, and whoopsie-days, we jumped up to there. So we get to the environment. So the environment's the big picture. So now it's the big picture of your business, or the big geographical look at it. So when we talk about the environment as in the landscape, we talk about the environment of that area, and this is what we're talking about, the environment of your business being that area. So we start looking at that, and this can be broken down to several parts, because the environment of your business, it's the vision of your business, it's the purpose, its values, its goals, its standards, expectations, its beliefs, and all that comes to make up what your business is. So I'm going to cut into one in particular here, because I think it's really important that we look at this one particular one in the environment, and this is the one that is quite crucial, and it's the culture. So you're going to build a culture within the business that's how you rock and roll, it's how you ride, that's how we work, and that's how we do things in our business. Because you don't want people that don't fit your business coming into your business. But if they don't know what the culture is, or you don't have a business culture, they're not going to know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So we build a culture, and around that around a culture we build a brand, because that's what happens. So for example, I think a good one is Harley Davidson. So we all know that brand, but there's a distinct culture around Harley Davidson that is that brand. So you don't buy just any old motorbike, you buy a Harley Davidson, because that's the culture you're involved in, and that's the brand for Harley Davidson. So what happens there? So what does a significant brand do? It increases the value. So when you think about the Harley Davidson brand of motorbike, it's got higher value than just another motorbike that doesn't have that culture around it, or that brand. 'Cause some of the Japanese bikes, whilst very highly regarded and great machines, don't have that culture around them, so therefore they don't create that extra value in owning them. So this is what pushes the value of a Harley Davidson up in comparison. So what from there we get we get a sort of a product, which is another product from that brand. So I'll use an AFL team for example on this one, because a top AFL team creates the players as a product, not deliberately, but the product is the actual culture. So they have this amazing team culture on a winning team that pushes the value of that product up as well. So the product becomes greater value. And this is what happens with a winning team and a winning culture. And that's what we're aiming to produce by building a culture around our business. Because significantly, once people know what the culture is, they can adhere to it and play to that culture. And how do we do that? Well, let's just break it down a bit more. So what we'll do, first thing, the culture. When the culture improves, the value of the culture improves. The dollar, which is the value of the brand, which is the value of your business. So therefore, you're increasing the value of your business just by working on your business. And how do we do this? Well, we use our values. Now, when we talk about business values, it's how we do our business. And this is something that's quite often not looked on as being as important in the early stages of a business, because we don't understand the reasoning for it. But the values are really important if you're building that culture, to build that value, to build that brand, to build that sellable business in the years to come. So we move forward. So how do we distinguish the values? So what I'm going to do is just give you a quick idea of how you make some business values. And firstly, look, I've just put some things that they need to include in your values, need to have in your values when you're picking your values, because your values could be honesty, integrity, loyalty, listening, kindness, creativity, courage, challenging. There's any number of different values that you can use that are key to your business success. But the first thing is that your values need to be true and important to you. They have to mean something to you, and you're going to have the right attitude around them. Otherwise, they won't stick. They won't work for everybody in the business. Something you believe in, and they've got to be real. With anything that's done in business, if it's not real to you, you won't do it. You'll fake it for a while until such time as it catches up, and it's just something you're not really adhering to. So this is where the crucial part of starting your values are. So the next little we'll go on how to pick some values and how to choose values moving forward.